Hi, and welcome to 3ABN Kids Camp for Ready, Set, Explore, where we search nature out and have fun without a doubt. I'm your host, JB Scout, and we're going to talk about maps and a compass. Because, of course, we don't want to get lost, do we? Especially when we go hiking, because we do want to go home and sleep in our own bed, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so what are we going to talk about when we talk about maps? What do you think? What do you think a map is good for? Yes.
Finding your way around places?
Yes, very good. Yes.
To direct other people.
Very good. Very important. Okay, other one. Yes.
To not get lost.
I agree. There's nothing worse than getting lost. Have any of you gotten lost?
Yes.
You have? I've gotten lost too, and it is no fun, is it? So a map is a great way for us to enjoy what we're doing and to make sure we find our destination, right? Okay, so before we get started, we need to know where we're going to go, right? And what is one important thing that we need to talk about before we go on the trip? Yes.
What we're gonna pack?
What we're going to pack. Good. What else?
Where we are gonna go?
Where are you going to go? So your destination, right? Very good. What else?
Get the right amount of stuff.
Get the right amount of stuff. So you don't want too much where you're just bogged down, but you want to have enough. So you don't want to, that's right, go on the trail and then like, where's my food, and get all hungry when you're back on, oh, that's not good. Okay, so a couple things that are very helpful is you want to let someone know where you're going, right? Isn't that good? Because if you get lost and you tell them, well, we're only going to be a day or 5 hours, and you don't come back after 5 hours, what do you think that person's going to do? They're going to call the authorities, right? And they're going to go and look for you, which is really important. Okay, talk about landmarks. So when you're ready to go on that hike, isn't it good to look for landmarks, and as you're going down the trail, you'll see, well, there's a big rock there, or there is a big tree that I haven't seen before, or something like that, or you see a peak way out in the distance, and you're going north, let's say, and that peak is over a little bit northeast. You want to make sure that you're going in that direction, right? Does that seem kind of logical? Okay. Now, what about you really don't know where north is, and you're in a climate where moss grows? Now, tell me, where does moss grow? Yes. Okay, and then you. Yes.
It grows mostly anywhere.
Well,
Almost.
it does grow where it's moist, but there's a certain place that moss like growing, and it's a directional thing.
In forest?
In the forest, yep. Now, what about north, south, east, or west? What side, using north, south, east, or west, does the moss grow on a tree? Yep, on a tree. It'll grow on a tree. So which side? Or on a rock. Same difference. So which side? It's the north side. You want to know why? Because the sun gets the least amount of area, so it doesn't dry up, and that's where the moss grows. So when you're in the woods and you're trying to find, where am I? And you're looking around the trees and you say, oh, there's some moss. Well, now I know where north is. Isn't that kind of neat? So I'm going to show you a map where we're going to go a north direction, and you'll be able to figure out just by the moss and the trees which direction without a compass. Okay? Okay, a couple other things. You want to make sure you prepare and ask questions about the weather, right? You want to go when it's really nice, so you check the weather report, right? And let's say the mountains, there's lots of different weather patterns in the mountains, and you find out that there's red skies at night. What does that mean? Yes.
It could mean really bad storms.
Really? Well, I think it's the exact opposite. but I will give you an opportunity for that answer. Okay, so at night, when it's red skies at night, it's called Sailor's Delight. Now, the ship and captains use that phrase, and it works really good. Now, to answer your question, what happens when it's red skies in the morning? So you want to give your answer? Go give your answer.
Bad storm?
Yes, it's the bad storms. You're correct. So they say when red skies in the morning, sailors take warning. I don't know. Have you heard that before? So it's really important that you look at the weather and you see if it's red skies at night, it means sailors take, which means that the sky is changing and the front is going away. But if it's red skies in the morning, that means that there's a new front coming in, and it's going to be take warning because it's going to change. So these are some things that you need to look at and remember, and it'll be very helpful when you're in nature or in places where you need to know what the weather's like. Okay? So anything else that we need to know about when we're getting ready for a trip and we're getting to get the map out? Yes.
First aid kit?
A first aid kit, yes, because I don't know about you, but sometimes I kind of trip and fall, and then, I always scratch my knee or something like that, or get cut, or sometimes, I decide I'm going to run through the forest because I like running, and I fall over. What's going to happen to me? I'm going to need first aid, am I? Right? I'm going to need first aid. Okay, so very good. Anything else? Yes.
A bag to put all your supplies.
A bag to put all your supplies. That's right. That's super important. Yes.
Compass?
And a compass. So the biggest thing is we need a map, right? And the map is going to help us, as you talked about, direction. What's going to happen? What about elevation? Now, I got a little story to tell you. I was on this rim trail. Now, this is in Nevada, and it's Park, California, but I was on the Nevada side. Anyway, does anybody know or ever heard of Tahoe, Lake Tahoe? It's a very beautiful lake. It's a very big lake, and it's up really high. Well, my friend and I decided that we were going to go on this rim trail, and it was one of the first trails that I wanted to be responsible on planning for the trip. And my friend, who was very experienced, was like, why don't you do it? And I'm like, oh my goodness. Well, JB Scout here had an issue, and it was an issue of the amount of time it took from the lower lands up to the upper lands and the altitude. And I'll show you a little bit on the map, but we climbed almost a vertical mountain with about a 50-pound pack. Now, do you think that was fun? I can tell you, we were both just huffing all the way up to the top, and I was asking myself, why did I do this? So, it's always good to really examine the map and know what's going on. So why don't we do that now? Let's get together, come on over here, and we're going to look at this map. Now I'm going to move this away here so you guys can all come and see. Can you all see? So now this is the Tahoe Rim Trail. Okay, so I'm going to open up, and here is a legend. So all these things are the different trail types, whether it be, for the main trail that you're going on, and this is the rim trail, and it's going to be this big line around here. Now this one, so see these different things where you see trailhead, there's a T for trailhead, and some of these those are very important when you read the map, okay, because that helps you to know where you're going. So we had to drive to the trailhead, which helped us navigate from point A. And we wanted to go to point B, which was on the top of the north end, which is right up here of Lake Tahoe. And we started between 5 and 6 here. Okay, so this shows a big map of the different sections. So then when you go and you look at your map here, you can see, well, that's number 4, which is this section here. Now, we were going to be on the east side of the mountains. Can you see this? So number 6 right here, and then we'll go to number 6 over here where it shows, okay, this is the bottom part of this area that I'm going to take you. So on number 5, this was our trailhead right there. You see that? Where it has the T there? That's where we parked our car and we headed up the mountain, which is kind of neat. But you see how this red line goes? And then this thing, it just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know what that means? That means that it's really steep. They're called switchbacks. These are switchbacks, and the switchbacks are because if you had to climb vertically, you couldn't do it. So what they do is they take the trail going back and forth to get up the side of the mountain, because you're going from about 6,000 feet to about 8,000 feet in about, going directly, it's about 1.5 miles to 2 miles. But because of these switchbacks, you'll be taking about 3 miles. And right in this area, we were having a hard time because it was going almost straight up using even these switchbacks, and it was making us really tired. By the time we got to the top, we had a little lake there, and boy, did we need water, because we drank most of the water because it was hot and it was really hard. Plus, do you know at elevation about 6,000 feet, the oxygen is not as much, right? So if you don't have as much oxygen, what's going to happen? You're going to be a little bit slower. It's going to take you more energy to get up there, right? So it's really important that you understand these maps. So you see this big red line right here? Our destination was directly north, just by Spooner Lake. And so we had to make sure we were there. Now there's a Bible verse, and it's found in Psalms 43:3, and it says, "Oh, send out your light and your truth. Let them lead me, let them bring me to your holy hill and to your tabernacle." Jesus is kind of like our direction. He's our compass. He brings us to where we need to go. And it's so important that when we look at maps, we know what these different things mean, and we know what is expected us on this map. It shows us different things like the rules and regulations, some health and safety tips, a lot of things that will help us. If we're able to do a fire, and it shows that you can do fires, this is very important when you're going on a trail, especially on a rim trail where it's a long ways from home. So, what do you think? Are you ready to go on a trail using a map?
Yeah.
How about a map and a compass?
Yes.
Okay, make sure you bring a compass because you want to point it north and point it to Jesus. And remember, Jesus is the answer. We need to focus on Him, and He will bring us to where we need to go. Thank you for joining us here at Ready, Set, Explore.